If being born out of wedlock meant having royal blood and living the life of a princess, then the story of Carla Brizuela Shah, daughter of Sultan Ahmed Shah, should have been one of luxury, with princes and castles and a wonderful fairy tale ending. But then, fairy tales are not always glamorous, royals can also be dirt poor, and princesses can be abandoned. When this illegitimate daughter, who lived with almost nothing at the far end of the world in America, found out she has royal blood, she was not ready for the battles of being an unwanted princess. Why was she abandoned? And how was her life after she found out she was a princess? Stay focused as we reveal the pieces of this royal life. Carla Brizuela was an unexpected child of the Malaysian ruler, Sultan Ahmed Shah of Pahang, and her nurse mother, Dina Brizuela. And no, it is no coincidence that Carla was bearing her mother's maiden name. It seems like an intentional move by Dina because Carla was a child not expected by anyone, at first. And within this incident lies shadows of secrets hidden in the depths of the earth until Carla was 14 years of age. You see, it just happened that Carla was a product of an alleged liaison between her parents. According to Dina, she was coerced into an intimate relationship with the Sultan during his reign sometime in 1983. This was quite an allegation. Dina claimed that the Sultan used his position of power to manipulate and exploit her, leaving her with no choice but to comply with his demands. So when she found out she was pregnant, she could do absolutely nothing to make the Sultan accept this responsibility, at least publicly. Well, could one blame the Sultan? He was, after all, married to Tengku Ampuan Afzan, the granddaughter of Lamrum Sultan Ahmed Shah, who also happened to be the first Sultan of Pahang. Right, do not get confused. The royal families of Malaysia just happened to share last names. Not only was his wife influential, but she also was connected with top national powers and was well loved by many. Also, Ahmed Shah was crowned King of Malaysia in 1979, which meant that he had only spent about 3 years on the throne when Carla became a reality. It seemed as though he quietly buried the issue, perhaps to preserve his status. Well, we can never say. However, Dina did what she could to survive, live a low-key life, and keep the secret of who the father of her child was, even from her daughter. To her, it was better to live in denial of what had happened in the past than to live a painful reality. However, these narratives would later change in the future, as we will see. Like many children with single mothers, Carla never realized there was a missing parent in her life. Well, until she was about 5, when her kindergarten teacher asked the class to bring both parents to school. It was an innocent request, but for a 5-year-old Carla, it stirred questions of, who was Daddy? And where is Daddy? Her mother had responded nonchalantly, "Oh, your dad, he can't come. He's busy because he's a king," she said, as if it were the most ordinary thing in the world. And like any child at that age, she had no reason to doubt it, even if the concept of a king was beyond her comprehension at the time. When Carla was 6 years old, they migrated to the United States for better opportunities. But things did not come easy in America. They moved from one rented room to another across California, never settling in a place they could truly call their own. It was no secret that money was an issue in the house, and survival came first, even if the fast-growing Carla always dreamed of living the princess life. It was not until a fateful night in 1996, when Carla was just 14, that the Sultan surprisingly contacted her mother and child, claiming to want to have a presence in his daughter's life. But wanting to know who your daughter is different from wanting to build a relationship with her. Like many royalties across the globe, the king never does the dirty work himself. Not like this was dirty work, but it was a scandal waiting to burst the media space. So, the royal family lawyer put a call through to Dina that the Sultan wanted to meet his daughter. After years of speculation and questions, she was about to meet her father, the king of a nation, for the first time in London. She was indeed a princess. A few days later, she finally met her father at a hotel where they had lunch. If she had expected an emotional encounter with hugs and tears, and maybe a tiara, she must have been disappointed. The reunion felt like a business meeting. And for a 14-year-old girl who lived a normal life in the United States, the setting was quite intimidating. And it didn't get better as the conversation felt stilted and the interaction was cold. But it was at least progress. She had met her father and she was satisfied. Carla's first impression of her father was mixed. He was older than she had imagined, already in his 60s. But what struck her most were the similarities. Beyond their physical resemblances, her father had a playful, somewhat sarcastic rapport with his entourage, traits that Carla had naturally inherited despite never having met him. Over the following years, Carla met her father only 2 more times, and each encounter felt the same, cold and formal, like a business meeting. They were always arranged over lunch in hotel restaurants. The greetings were mechanical, formal pecks on both cheeks, followed by routine conversations about her interests, school, and plans. Her father often suggested she explore London or go shopping, as if trying to fill the void with material gestures. She once shared her ambition to become a lawyer, and while he praised her, what truly moved Carla was something unexpected. He mentioned that she resembled his eldest daughter. At that moment, it made her happy to think she had a sister. It was a small but significant connection, one that made her feel, even briefly, that she belonged to something larger. Carla might not have connected with her father the way she wanted, but at least she had a father. Things were good and life was fulfilling. On the surface. You see, in between all these meetups were different legal battles going on in the background, and these stirred the media for a while. In 1997, Sultan Ahmad Shah accepted responsibility for fathering Carla Brizuela Shah and began negotiations with Carla's mother, Dina Brizuela Cooper, for a settlement. The Sultan offered 10 million RM as part of a deal, hoping to put the matter to rest. However, these negotiations were fraught with tension and dragged on for 4 long years, ultimately ending in failure. By the end of the negotiations, both parties parted on bitter terms, and Dina chose a bold route, using the power of the internet to share her story with the public. Dina turned to the media, hoping to shed light on the situation and gain some form of acknowledgement for her daughter. When Malaysia Kini, a prominent news outlet, contacted Dina and Carla for an interview, they learned that Carla was still deeply hurt by the estranged relationship with her father. According to Dina, all Carla ever wanted was to be recognized by her father as his daughter, an acknowledgement she longed for, but that continued to elude her. Carla had tried to reach out to her father, but Dado Michael, a close confidant, was her only point of contact. Every effort to connect with her father directly, even through emails to Dado Michael asking when he would next be in London, were met with silence. Whenever she visited her family in the Philippines and suggested visiting Malaysia, the answer was always the same. Her father was conveniently in London. Their third meeting in 2003 ended up being their last. And when Carla learned of her father's passing years later, it was through a message on social media that began with, "Condolences, Carla." A quick search online confirmed the truth in news articles, but Carla found herself conflicted in her emotions. She was saddened, of course, but there was also a distance. She hadn't known him well enough to feel the full weight of grief, yet his absence left a strange emptiness. He hadn't been the father she had imagined, but she knew one undeniable truth. Without him, she wouldn't be here. Carla might have found out she was royalty, but she hardly lived the life of royalty. But that didn't stop her from living a good life and living the life of a princess. Not in castles or luxury, but in duty. She'd once told her father she wanted to study law, which she did, but after his death, she found purpose in focusing on helping the needy, which she did as a social worker. After all, being a princess meant serving the people. She might not have the Princess Diaries ending, but she is presently living happily ever after with her husband and beautiful children while serving humanity. One can't help but wonder how different her life might have been if she had been fully accepted by both her father and country. Was she a threat to his other children, or was the Sultan simply unable to acknowledge the consequence of his infidelity? What do you think? Carla's story leaves us with so many questions. What would her life have been if the Sultan fully embraced her? Was she a threat to his royal legacy, or just an inconvenient secret he couldn't afford to acknowledge? Either way, it seems royalty isn't always the fairy tale we imagine. But speaking of royal scandals, have you heard about the shocking decision of the Thai king? He disowned 4 of his sons to choose his daughter as the heir. And the drama doesn't end here. Click on the screen now to uncover all the jaw-dropping details in A Royal Scandal. Thai king chooses daughter and disowns 4 sons.